Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And a good morning to you. It is time for Coffee Ann here on ON, AM, and FM. It's Monday morning. It's a chilly Monday morning. And it's January 22nd. Here in the Blackstone Valley. This is Joe Callahan. Thanks for joining us this morning. John Ward is here. Good morning to you there, John.
Good morning, and because Dave's not in the room, I'll say lovely day.
Very good. And we expect Melissa Murray to be joining us at some point here on the Coffee Ann program. She is not here yet, but, it's cold outside. Maybe that's it.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Baby, it's cold outside. That's right. 18, well, we're up to 18.
Well, that's good.
It's still cold out. But
I got to tell you, I got to stop you there.
All right, okay.
I know Dave was saying we're going to have a January warming trend earlier, and
yeah.
This is trying to think of what these lines from movies, but it's like I've lived winter, and this is not it. Talk about cold. We haven't seen a 3-degree day or a 2-degree day. We've seen wind chills -3, but I'm talking about where you wake up and the number is below zero just on the thermometer. This is warm.
Hey, 47.
This has been a warm season. We've had a week and a half now of some chilly weather. We've had a little bit of snow.
54
and now we're going to
Friday.
have 4 days of rain and spring weather.
48 on Saturday.
I'm sure it'll come back again. We'll probably have another snowstorm sometime in February. But, that point in time where we have that hard, cold, bitter cold where
for 3 weeks at a time.
You can't find a pair of mittens or gloves that are going to keep your hands warm. I haven't seen one of those in several years. And, we saw the middle of the country get that cold snap that came through. But I remember about 3 years ago, that cold was in Russia, in Siberia, and we had a warm winter. And that's basically what happens is the North Pole, the cold, that polar vortex, when it doesn't come down on us, it's coming down on somebody else.
Yeah.
And usually it's Siberia. And right now, I'll bet you Siberia is probably having a warm winter.
Oh, maybe they are. I haven't checked it out.
The middle of this country is having a cold winter, but not a really, really frigid winter.
Melissa Murray has joined us at the Coffee
Yes,
table.
good morning, Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Nice to have you here with us.
I am one of those people who is going to complain about the cold, even though I know we've been lucky. We haven't had a really cold winter as compared to others, and I know it's been many years, but the cold is not for me. I don't know what I'm doing here.
John comes in every other Monday to talk about what's going on with the Woonsocket City Council meeting. You got your special your executive session, or is it the closed door session at 4?
Well, no, we haven't opened the session to discuss items, about 5 items, and then we go into a closed session for some collective bargaining and litigation discussion. But there is...
And then you get your regular 6 o'clock open to the public meeting.
Well, we have to discuss. We've been talking with the various nonprofits about their payment in lieu of taxes arrangements that we're looking to do with them. And it's time for us to finish up some of that discussion. So we're going to be discussing Community Care Alliance and their proposal that we need to try to flesh out and put into an ordinance. And then the application for grant funds in the Community Learning and Recreation Center, which is monies that I guess were from COVID or ARPA from the state level that they're now granting out to the various communities for a community center that would be built or is planned at this point to be built over at in the Cass Park complex down in the lower parking area. Then we have to discuss where we're going to place our new animal shelter. There's been assumptions about it going into Rivers Edge Park. But as you can see, with the risk of the spread of disease and shutting down the dog park, I don't know that an animal shelter is the best place to put there. So we're going to be discussing alternatives there and the current and future plans for public safety facilities, because the Hamlet Avenue site's sort of been dropped, and we got to look at alternatives.
But there
and
are
see
no
what's out
alternatives,
there.
John.
Well, there are alternatives actually.
Where's there enough space?
Well, one is that you don't build one of those mega churches. I mean, public safety complexes that has police and fire all together.
All right.
Because we're not even sure they like it with them all together like that. Because even in North Providence, when I went to
Yeah,
visit
they're
their
right
site,
next door to.
they're next to each other,
Right.
but
Right on Middle Spring.
they're not in the same building really. You could pretty much. You're in one side, you're in a fire department. You're on the other side, you're in a police department.
Okay, that's fine.
But
But they're right next to each other.
it's not necessarily more efficient. It's not necessarily what we really need to do is replace 2 fire stations.
Okay.
The North Main Street Fire Station and the Cumberland Hill Road Fire Station. Now, there's a couple of choices available to us. One of which, I had thought sized up the All Saints property, and it would easily fit a double-sized fire station. With about 6 or 7 bays for the trucks to cover what you cover with the 2 fire stations currently, and move all of the administrative offices and all of the dispatch people and everything in there in a 2-story complex attached to it. It could fit there, which is only 2.5 acres, which means anywhere you can find 3 acres, you can do this. And to my mind, the former mayor had discussed using Boulay Field and some associated properties for a public safety complex. If you really want to go that way, Boulay Field would fit a combined fire department easily and be a good space to use for easy road access. And there are others. One of the suggestions is the possibility of taking the Cumberland Hill Road location and actually just demolishing that building and building a whole complex right there. Not sure how you would design the in and out, the straight drive-through kind of garages that they use these days, but there are a few options available, and we need to discuss them and give
Melissa,
ourselves
do you agree
choices.
with what John is saying about
I
a
do.
public safety complex?
do.
And
I
that
do.
it doesn't have to
Yep.
be a police and fire thing put together?
I agree that it doesn't necessarily need to be in the same place, but I think that it's location. You know,
And then
All right.
the other
And
part of
then-
that is
yes.
we need to do some serious upgrades and improvements to our police station
yeah.
because it's old. It's old. It's not as old as I am, but it's old. And it needs roofing, it needs HVAC, it needs maybe some expansion.
Can you add on to that building?
You can. There's about 30 feet between the back of the building and the post office property.
Okay.
And they had put a sidewalk there and planted some trees, and everybody was, ooh, isn't that pretty?
Nice.
They never bothered to put picnic tables or anything. But the point is, it was like a walking area, and it's like wasted space because
Okay.
we could add a new drive-through Sallyport secure entrance when you bring in people in cars that has plenty of room and is secure, and improve the interior for the prisoner intake areas and such, and then maybe put a second floor on top of that and expand
Yeah.
the office space, take dispatch out, put it in a new fire department, give them back the space
That
they
space,
had there, and give them room for the other people who now function through the police department, whether it be for mental health services or assistance that they provide in other ways. There are other positions that go into that department now. So yes, if you combine those two, we'll probably spend less than we would have spent on one of these major complexes, and I hope get more for our money.
Okay.
That is then, we go into the executive session, as I said, which would be for collective bargaining and litigation, having to do with the wastewater treatment plant. Good Lord, I can't wait for that one to be finished. And then we go into
the
at
public session?
6 o'clock,
6, the
not
regular-
7
the
o'clock.
regular
We go
meeting.
into the tiki bar. I'm sorry, no, we go into the.
I like that you had a little shaker of salt on on the dais up there. Little tribute to the tiki bar.
No, we do public hearings on some zoning ordinances that require public hearing. There's 3 of them. And then we do liquor license public hearings for a couple of locations. And then we do the license approvals for victualling and liquor and all the other licenses that are up for consideration. There's a whole series of reports on the agenda, which is wonderful, and it lets people see what's going on, including the fact that we got over $400,000 in opioid funding from the litigation that's now come into the city, and not a dime has been spent yet. But we have to figure out how to
Yeah,
do that.
where's that money
Yeah,
go?
there's a whole bunch of rules that have come down related to the lawsuit, and so somebody has to now parse out those rules and figure out what direction the city's going to go in,
All right.
as well as the American Rescue Plan Act funding and City Capital Fund, and a monthly financial report, and all the different bids we've put out for and what the results are. And there's a whole series of reports on the Cass Park gravel sales and what's going on there. Then we take care of our unfinished business, which is, as I said, those 3 zoning amendments, much of them having to do with downtown, or 2 of them, I think, having to do with downtown, and one being regulating self-storage units and limiting it to just industrial zones, so that there won't be any going up in the middle of residential neighborhoods or
Thank you.
the mixed-use areas.
That's a good thing, right?
That's a
Well,
good
you know,
thing.
everybody kept talking about putting them on Prospect Street, but no, we're not going to do that. This would limit it to industrial zones, which does make some sense. And let me see what else. We have some school zone parking amendments that prohibits parking in certain areas in certain school zones, which, by the way, I just realized will almost immediately need to be changed again or amended, because it says St. Joseph School, and there's no St. Joseph School anymore. There's the Catholic Regional School,
Right.
not St. Joseph School. So, and it also doesn't mention Pothier School on Robinson Street. So it's one of those things that's evolving. Then we were moving 3 items from the ARPA funding, one of which was $4 million was for the water meter replacements, which being done through a loan program with Infrastructure Bank. And another one was $250,000 dedicated to a skating rink, an artificial surface skating rink, which now is creating an eruption of emails and
For
comments
or against?
for it.
Oh, they want it.
Talking about how people. I did find one fascinating. It said we used to go there. My father taught me to play hockey.
On a
I thought-
synthetic rink?
I thought, well, actually,
That's impossible.
the old rink, you weren't allowed to play hockey. So I don't know how Dad taught you to play hockey on a rink where you're not allowed to play hockey. No, you can play hockey on a synthetic rink. Actually, the surface
Okay.
is such that really all you have to do is you have to sweep it off after. But it's not really. You don't really want to do hard skating on it.
All right.
It's good for kids who aren't that heavy and aren't going to be
They're just
scraping
learning.
so
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
But it's more for recreational skating, and it's actually very durable. And maybe we'll put it back. I never thought it would cost $250 anyway. I had seen other communities where it was about $125. Maybe it's up to $150.
Same place over at River Island Art
I
Park?
don't know. They're changing that stage, and it's going to take up more space, and that could cut into the concrete. But there may be space in some other area where it could be considered. Frankly, with the way we have warm winters now, we should just drain Cash Pond and put it there. But no, I'm kidding. That's a joke, folks. But there may be some other place in another park where you could place that, where
Okay.
it could be used. And then there's the second passage on the statue that's going to go at River's Edge for the world record, and then some new beginnings appropriation of ARPA funds, and salaries of the mayor and the council members. This is an ordinance that's been placed on. It was up for second passage. Those are the old business, and frankly, that one I have to talk to folks about, because I'm getting pushback on that one from some people in the public about the timing of it and whether it should be linked more to the budget process. But we can't go too far out, because if we go past the date for declaration, then you're not allowed to do it. So it would have to be done maybe in May. But it's something to consider, because we really need to be careful with our budget, just as the state has to, because of the expiring nature of the ARPA funds and the ability to do certain things with those. Then we're looking to appropriate money from ARPA for Connecting for Children and Families to provide free tax preparation service, which has always been done through a funding of the IRS, but I guess that stopped, and they're going to need money to handle that program, about $50,000, I understand. Rescue plan funds for 3 F-350 trucks, rescue plan funds for 3 dump trucks. I spoke with the Public Works Director about that, and he gave the council copies of his fleet report on all the trucks we have. And basically, he's working towards having it where our heavy-duty trucks are no more than 10 years old, the ones with the big trucks with the plows, because once you get past 10 years, your maintenance is probably outstripping your replacement cost. And realistically, the city needs to do something with its capital planning for vehicles to start buying something every year, so that when you get to a 10-year cycle for trucks like that, then you should buy at least one and phase out the oldest one, buy another one, phase out the old one. And if you keep doing that, you'll always end up with an up-to-date,
fleet.
usable, decent fleet. If you don't do that, like happened because we didn't have money at some period in time, you end up with an older fleet, and you get a lot of breakdowns that happen all at once. And
All right, on that
quarter
note,
after, and I'm going to let you go to your break.
we're going to go to break, but more is coming up about the city council meeting tonight, and we'll find out more when we come back on the Coffee and program.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
It's party time. Time for the Northern Rhode Island Council of the Arts 29th Annual Mardi Gras. Running for 2024 Mardi Gras Queen are Lauren Fagnet, Jean Michon, and Denise Salasis. Get your tickets today for the Queen Coronation on Sunday, February 4th at the Italian Working Men's Club and the Mardi Gras Ball on Saturday, February 10th at the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Don't wait. Tickets will sell out. Call 401-486-9380 or visit nrica.org.
ON AM and FM.
It is Coffee and on ON AM and FM. Thanks, Dave. And I'm Joe Callahan here with John Ward and Melissa Murray. And Dave caught up with 2 of the Mardi Gras Queen contestants this past Sunday. And he has we're going to play a couple of reports from Dave. And this is him talking with one of the contestants. Her name is Denise, I got to say it right, Salasis. And here is Dave's report.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Richards, and I'm at Cello's here for St. Anne's Day. And I heard Dominic say on the radio that we could meet the Mardi Gras Queen contestants here. And he's right. Denise Salasis. Did I say it right?
Salasis.
Salasis? Salasis. I have to practice that name, Denise. Denise Salasis is here with me. And Denise, why are you running for Mardi Gras Queen?
It's something different, something that I don't normally do, but I love that there 100% goes towards the cultural arts, and it is used in Woonsocket, so it's like giving back to the community and just going out of my comfort zone.
Well, how have you been received now when you tell people that you're running for Mardi Gras Queen and you're selling tickets?
They're very surprised because normally I'm very quiet, so, but they're happy for me.
Do you mind me asking what you normally do for a living and all that? Why would you be quiet?
I work for Citizens Bank locally here, and
that's what you do.
That's what I do.
Thank you. I do want to ask you one other thing. This is the first year that we're changing things up, and the Mardi Gras Queen, when she is crowned, will be able to pick who the king of the Mardi Gras is. Do you have anybody in mind?
I do.
Do you want to say who it is, or are you going to keep quiet?
Nope, I'm going to keep quiet because my whole family is going.
Yeah.
So it's going to surprise them.
Oh, so whomever it's going to be is going to be surprised.
Yes.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty good. Denise, good luck. Now, if somebody wants to buy tickets from you, because that's how the Queen wins the contest, how will they contact you?
They can stop in at Citizens Bank, 67 Cumberland Street in Woonsocket, or they can give the bank a call and I can come out to them and sell tickets.
Very good. Thanks so much. Do you want to give the telephone number on the air?
401-437-7429 or 401-767-3657.
You did a marvelous job in the interview. I know you were a little nervous, but you kept your poise through the whole thing. Nicely done, Denise Salasis.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. And we'll be hearing from another Mardi Gras Queen contestant coming up in a few minutes here on ON Radio. I think it's cool that Denise has a person in mind if she wins to be King Jace, but she doesn't want to say who it is because she wants to surprise her family. So
That's fun.
That is fun. All right, back to John Ward, who's got more with tonight's agenda for the Woonsocket
Yeah, I'm
City
going to
Council
skip
meeting.
a lot of the smaller routine stuff, and I'm going to go straight to the fact that there's going to be a resolution to authorize. I just want to make sure. Oh yes, I'm sorry. There's one also about using ARPA funds for an appropriation to Sojourner House to help them with their operation and expansion of their services in Woonsocket.
Excellent.
And that's one of the purposes of American Rescue Plan. There, one of the things with domestic abuse in post-COVID era is that during COVID it put a lot of stress on people who were sort of locked down, and it created
Huge
problems
increase,
for many
yeah.
people. And Sojourner House is the kind of place that would help deal with some of those things. And so they are looking for assistance in upgrading the level of service here in Woonsocket, and so we're going to help them with that. Now I'll move on to the fact that we're considering authorizing for advertisement sale of property on East School Street, 3 lots, and then 3 house lots that are on East School and Pond Street up on the corner. There was an assumption that the company that's looking to build for Rise Prep Memorial Academy would simply walk in and buy it, but we have an ordinance that requires us to advertise. And before doing that, I believe we're supposed to go out and get a realtor who's supposed to market properties the city wants to sell. So it's not as if we can choose who we want to sell to without the entire council's agreement on something like that.
Okay.
Then there's another one for DEM to go on to the First Avenue site, which was the burned down mill down at the end of First Avenue, next to the river. They're going to go in and they're going to do some testing on that land to check for contamination and such, with possible future remediation. Councilman Manseri wants to establish a city property committee, which would be collecting all of the information about all the city-owned property and participating in making decisions about how to maintain it and or add to or dispose of it. And let me see, we've got the trucks, this is a long one. We have the
Long
one, we
meeting
have
tonight.
authorizing the receipt of the 2023 Southeast New England Program Watershed Implementation Grant. And I'm going to tell you, and then to bypass competitive services for the engineering for that grant. That's a good one because what it's doing is for the first time, it's actually pre-requesting authorization to implement a grant, even though they haven't gotten it yet. Once they're approved for it, it's authorizing them to go ahead and spend the money. And we have always had problems with the administration, the former administration, going out and getting grants and spending money as if there's no accountability to the public or the council. And in fact, the fact that a grant is a contract that is either over $100,000 or a contract that extends beyond a year, which this one does both of those things, that requires a resolution to the council for approval. And when I met with the planning director and the mayor and the solicitor last week or the week before, I pointed out that they should, when they have these grants in the queue to be granted, that they need to simply put them before the council to explain what they are and to the public, explain what they are, explain what kind of money is involved and what the plan is for it, and then get permission to do it. Not permission to apply, but upon application, ask permission for a pre-approval to fulfill the obligations of the grant and do the job once they get the award of the grant. And this is the first time this is really being done, and I appreciate it, and it's the way it should be done.
Okay.
And then there's authorizing contracted annual requirement in January to get an arborist, and then we use the same company person for tree trimming throughout the year and tree cutting. And then there's 3 requests to speak, one of which is me.
Yep.
Still going to go off on the Mendon Road purchase. Home Rule Charter draft proposals and commission appointments. The mayor says he's going to be working on that. I've given him some names. He's working on names, and he'll be doing that so we can have quick discussions and get things done. I want to just briefly discuss the January flooding issues, ARPA spending plan amendments, the old water treatment plant demolition, which the contract was approved last August, and ask for the status update on the Water Department Roy Avenue facility and what the status of that is, which I've become aware of over the weekend, but I'll ask that it be explained to the public so they're aware.
All right.
So,
Who else is looking to speak?
Councilman Mansari to address soliciting bids for real estate brokerage firm. And amendments to downtown overlay district, Dunn Park in the Fairmount neighborhood. I don't know what he's going after there. The status of the former middle school project, the MLK weekend events, and then the Public Works Director wants to speak about drainage and flooding issues, snow plowing, equipment and personnel, the new water facility, infrastructure, and ARPA funds. So much of it is similar stuff that we're discussing.
Okay. Busy meeting.
Yeah, it's going to be busy.
It's got a lot to do, a
The
lot to-
4 o'clock
to
meeting will
accomplish.
probably run close to the 6 o'clock start time for the other, and the other will go maybe fast, maybe slow.
All right.
We don't know.
I wanted to
Order
ask-
some pizza in between, 'cause you know.
No. We're not there yet.
All right, I wanted to ask John this because I cruise around the internet and just see what what is anyone bringing up any kind of situations that are going on here in the city of Woonsocket that and someone did, and so I said, all right, let me bring this up to John and see what he has to say, and they're questioning and maybe have the answers, maybe don't, but let's see. They're questioning the Dignity Bus and the lack of use. And we went out and we spent $150,000 to get it.
150,000 of ARPA funds
it's-
for the bus.
And it's been so cold the last couple of days. This has been a perfect time to put it in use. Why hasn't it been put in use?
I don't know that it has not been in use. I have seen comments about the fact that here it is sitting there and I don't see any footprints going to it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there is snow on the ground around it. So yes, it sounds like it's a legitimate complaint that if there's no footprints, there's nobody there. I don't know that.
Okay.
And I think I know there has been some reporting of there being some use, probably not full use. It's a tight quarter. Some people may see it and not want to get inside of it.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's maybe a question that I can pose to Community Care Alliance. They're
Could
the
you?
ones that manage it. And I will be back here on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And besides the cupcake with the candle in it, we'll discuss the utilization
birthday.
of the Dignity Bus.
I'd appreciate that just to see where things stand.
No, I'll
if
be
it's being
happy to.
used, great. If it's not being used at all, why? And if it's only being used a little, how come?
Well, there is some work that had been done, I believe, or there is some utilization of the rectory building for additional space. So I don't know if it's that the bus has become an overflow situation or what. I guess maybe it's time for a public discussion with Community Care Alliance about the process, how it's going, what space they're utilizing, and let the public be aware.
Okay.
So maybe that'll be a discussion item when we have a special meeting next Monday. There's already an agenda for it.
There is, okay.
Because the planning department wants to present some information to the council and the public on like 6 or 7 different topics.
That's one.
And there's a couple of other items up for discussion, so it may be that it's appropriate that we start that meeting with a discussion of the utilization of the Dignity Bus.
And maybe Valerie Gonzalez has some more information as well.
She may have more information than we do. I don't know. But I think the party responsible to provide us information would be Community Care Alliance. They're the ones that are contracted to actually manage the operation. And so they would have the best information, I think.
All right. We're going to take a break here on the Coffee AM program and take a look at the forecast right now, which is being brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Increasingly cloudy today with a high of 36 degrees. Tonight, gradually becoming partly cloudy, overnight low of 29, and a breeze from the southwest up to 20 miles an hour. Tuesday's weather, there's a 30% chance of rain and sleet in the afternoon, then switching over to snow and sleet as the evening approaches, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 38. Tuesday night, it's a 50% chance of snow and sleet before 8 p.m. and then switching over to snow, cloudy skies, low of 29 degrees and calm wind. Wednesday, 50% chance of snow in the morning, and then switching over to rain and snow mix, and then just rain in the afternoon. Cloudy skies, high of 39 Wednesday. Thursday, 80% chance of rain, all rain, 47 degrees for a high Thursday. Friday, 60% chance of more rain, mostly cloudy with a high of 54. Saturday, mostly cloudy and 48, and next Sunday, a 30% chance of some showers, partial sunshine though, with a high of 42 on Sunday.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we do have sunny skies with 21 degrees. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
For centuries, the lighthouse at Castle Hill has been a trusted guide to safer harbors ahead. And like the rock-solid foundation it's built on, at Bank Rhode Island, we're proud of our financial strength, which customers trust to help them manage and achieve all of their personal, investment, and business banking financial goals. Bank on our strength. Bank RI. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At the turn of this century, 27% of people who passed away were cremated. By the year 2020, that figure rose to 56%. The Cremation Association of America projects that by the year 2040, 4 out of 5 Americans will choose cremation over a casket burial. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center of Woonsocket can answer your questions about the cremation process. Go online to providencecremation.com. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center on Spring Street, Woonsocket. Let them create the perfect service for your loved one. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center. It is Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Woonsocket City Council President John Ward and Melissa Murray. And we got another report from Dave Richards, who was out meeting the Mardi Gras Queen contestants. And that's the fundraiser for St. Anne's that took place on Sunday. So here's Dave's report as he spoke to Lauren Fagnant.
Hello, everyone. This is Dave Richards. I'm here at Cello's during St. Anne's Day, enjoying a nice meal, and I bumped into another Mardi Gras Queen contestant. It's Lauren Fagnant. Hello there, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I want you to tell everybody listening in on the radio now why you're running for Mardi Gras Queen.
Sure. So I like to be involved within the community. I am from Cumberland, Rhode Island, but I have strong roots in Woonsocket. And I just really want to help the Rhode Island Council for the Arts with their scholarship program that they have and just be involved in the Mardi Gras competition.
Excellent. Well, what do you do for a living when you're not running for Mardi Gras Queen?
I just left the early childhood field after 12 years and just started a brand new career with Seven Hills. I'm a treatment coordinator there, and I'm assisting children and adults with special needs.
I know them well, and I think you'll find that rewarding work.
So far, it's been amazing.
All right, now, Lauren, this is the first time that the Mardi Gras Queen will get a chance to select the Mardi Gras King. I wanted to know, do you have someone in mind?
I do, and I have already asked the person if they would be the king or a prince, whatever I place.
And did you want to reveal who that person might be if you become queen?
Sure. I asked my grandfather, Leon Fagnant, or many people might know him as Butch, but I asked him to be, and he very happily accepted.
That's very, very nice. All right, now, how can people contact you if they want to buy tickets so you could be the queen?
Sure. My cell phone number is 401-487-3142, and they can give me a call or a text anytime, and I have plenty of raffle tickets left to go, so call me anytime.
Say that number one more time in case somebody's just writing it down.
Sure. It's 401-487-3142.
Lauren Fagnant, congratulations for running, and good luck with the contest.
Thank you so much.
There's Lauren Fagnan running for Mardi Gras Queen, and she will have, if she wins, she's going to pick her grandfather to be King Jace. And I think that's pretty cool.
That's sweet.
So, yeah, it is. And so best of luck to Lauren and to her grandfather, Leon, also known as Butch. That would like to be King Jace. So there you go. All right, let's see. Something I wanted to bring up. We're quick to criticize. There we go. We're quick to criticize the federal government and whatever they do. And I got to give them kudos.
That sounds justified.
It is. And I got to give them kudos because something went right with me dealing with the federal government. Because my daughter is a senior in high school, going on to college in the fall. And so now we have to, and she's been accepted to 7 schools. So now we're going to get down to which one does she go to? Well, part of that decision making comes down to how much financial aid you get from the federal government. And so you have to fill out what's called the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. That's what it stands for. And so I was very concerned.
I always thought it stood for pain.
Well, it was always you went in on October 1st and you could start filling it out. Well, the federal government came out and said, hang on, we're changing it. And change is never good. And so you couldn't fill out October 1st. They kept pushing it off and pushing it off. And then it was December 31st. Well, that was a Sunday, I think. They said, so you really had to wait to January. And so when January started, they kind of came out, you had to read between the lines and said, well, you really want to wait because we don't know if it's going to work. Because you got to do it all online.
Oh, yes.
So we got bugs to work out and things like that. And sure, and people rushed to do it, like on January 1st. And what happened? It crashed.
Yeah.
It did. So I waited and waited. So I waited to this weekend. And because they were doing what's called a soft launch, so they even told you right on the front home page, this may work when you hit submit, or it may not, because it may be down for maintenance. But it was a Sunday. I'm figuring nobody's working at the federal government right now. I got a good shot that that's going to be submit. So I was planning my time. I thought this was going to take an hour to accomplish. I was done in 15 minutes.
Really?
Good.
And so they filled it out. Are you the student or are you the parent? Parent. Okay. Name, address, phone, email. Yes, John.
They do carry forward information from previous years on
They
some
do.
basic information, so you cut out a lot of repetition.
They do, but the last time I filled this out was 12 years ago. My information was gone.
Okay.
So it's the usual stuff: name, address, phone, email, social security number, and then it asked a few other questions. But I was done in 15 minutes. Hit submit. It said, "Thank you. It's been submitted." You'll get an email that says you've completed your section, and I did immediately. Got an email.
That's comforting.
You are done.
Yep.
Now your child, they have to do their part. So this is what's new. I remember doing this 12 years ago with my son, and I had to do the whole thing. I mean, you had to write it out. But now she gets an email from the federal government, says, okay, your parent has completed their section. It's now time for you to go in and complete yours. And she went in, and same thing, name, address, phone, email, social security number. Is this all correct? And basically it's saying, is it okay if we go in and check? They did this for me too. Oh, is it okay if we go grab your IRS tax forms from last year so we can look at it? Of course, you got to click yes. And then her next thing.
Well, see, that cuts out a lot because
It
when I
sure
was
does.
first filling them out for
cuts
my
out
kids,
a ton of time.
you had to put in all of that tax
You don't
data,
have to put in
all that
any of that.
information
We're
separately.
just going to go grab it for you.
If they've got permission to go grab it from the IRS,
Yep.
that's huge.
It is huge. And then what she had to do, because I didn't, she had to fill out all the colleges that she wanted to have information sent to. So she took care of that part, which is good because I didn't. And I was watching her do it, and she was done in 15 minutes. She got her you've completed it, and now it's hurry up and wait time. But you're done. You've got nothing else to do right now.
Now, is one of the
This went
questions
so smooth.
is one of the questions what are you going to major in so that if you pick the wrong major that you'll never find a job that you could be able to pay any loans back?
That is
that
never-
they're going to
that-
say
that is never
no,
asked.
you don't qualify because you'll never be able to earn enough money to pay back what you owe.
That's a stupid occupation. No, that's not asked. Very simple enough. It just schools. What state is the school in? As soon as you pick
Yeah,
the state,
that's good.
you start typing in the name. It automatically populates. Is this the right school? Yes. Here's their little code. Yes. And then right at the end, is everything correct? Look over everything. Everything's right. Submit. We were done in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was
again, the reason
painless.
mine was painful was you had to pick the right. You had to wait until you filed the tax return in order to get the most current IRS data information in there, and you had to get all the detail and start pulling stuff up.
Well, I was ready because I had all my tax returns in a file cabinet next to in case I gotta reference it. All right, I got it all right, but I didn't need any of that information. So kudos to the federal government and the student aid people that got this right.
It's still the IRS because it still took them 2 years to clear up an issue with my sister's tax return where they owed her money. But fortunately for her, she collects interest at a fairly high rate.
There you go.
Because they failed to give her refund on time, and when they finally figured it out. And then I've got my son who's still waiting after 2 years because he was eligible for child care credits on at the time, a 1-year-old child that had gotten a certain credit the year before and I filled out the forms for him. Mm-hmm. It's using TurboTax. It's not, the software's intuitive. It does it right because it knows the rules. Filled it all out, filed a return. They said, this person's not eligible. It's like, wait a minute.
Really?
She's 2.
Yeah.
She got it last year. She has a Social Security number. Everything has been completed right.
Yeah.
The software did it, not me.
So
why isn't they cut his refund down by the amount of the credit related to his second child, and we've never figured out why. Sent them copies of documents and letters and everything else, and they promised
when
to
you're
respond,
thinking
and
about
they
a place to go out to
haven't
eat with
gotten
your
around to it
family
yet,
or the whole
2 years
gang,
later.
or maybe something quieter for just the two of you.
So-
All right.
He's waiting patiently.
Has he talked to people at the IRS?
Oh God, do you really do that?
I've had myself.
No, he did actually once, I believe.
If you actually get a chance to talk to anyone at the IRS, this has been my
Very sympathetic people.
They are very nice, extremely
Yes.
try to be helpful, and it's not what you think it's going to be. It was actually and I've had to do it. I've known
They
other
are.
people that have had to do it. It's a very pleasant experience.
Yes.
Actually talking to the IRS. They try
No,
to be
it
very
is.
helpful.
It
on the
is.
phone.
They're humans. I
Yeah.
think it's more to do with the fact that a lot of this hyper computerization they've occasionally tripped up on their own feet with the softwares and the processing, and so it's taken time for the humans to catch up with the manual analysis of what the computer did in order to correct these things, and you just have to be patient with them and recognize that you're going to get paid interest for the time you lost the money.
Yeah.
All right, so-
TurboTax a couple of years ago did a big settlement,
Did they?
and
We made a mistake.
I got a $19 and something cent check. We made a mistake. I don't know what they did. I don't know
here it
why I was included, but apparently because I used TurboTax during those years,
Yeah.
and I got a whopping $19 check from them.
All right.
I mean, I cashed it. It was legit.
And you got the money. So
The other thing that's interesting though is TurboTax. You can do your federal return for free
Yep.
yeah.
through the IRS,
Yes.
except what you're actually using is TurboTax or another software, and it's really this is where lobbyists come in, where you say federal government is the federal government. The lobbyists for Intuit, who makes TurboTax, and the other
Yeah.
companies, H&R Block. And basically, they arrange it so when you get a free tax return from the IRS, one of those companies is getting paid money. But why hasn't the government figured out how to use the programming to do a simple tax return, especially for the kids and for people who only have a W-2 and withholding, to just fill out a return online and not have to pay any company for their software? Just do it free, right into the IRS website. Why is that not yet
I don't know.
a possibility?
Got to go through the outside
I don't
company.
expect Donald Trump to do his tax return free online, but
Right.
I mean, even me, or people like me, when you're married and you're both retired, or if you're single and you're retired, and all you're getting is Social Security and a pension
Yeah,
check
should
and a little
be
bit of interest,
Should be
and
simple.
it's simple.
Yeah.
And all you do is get to the bottom line where you figure out whether you paid enough or not, and either cut a check or get a refund. It's not rocket science. And for some strange reason, the lobbyists control, and this is where many people complain about lobbyists controlling Washington, basically. And I forgot, what's the name of that show on Channel 10 on Sunday mornings after Meet the Press? She used to be a reporter, and then she got canned. And in any case, she did one on lobbying. Now lobbyists control medicine, and the fact that a lot of research that's done by the National Institutes for Health is done in collaboration with private companies. But when they actually develop something as a government agency, they turn the rights to the patent rights back over to the private company. And then employees or consultants for the NIH or the FDA or other agencies of the federal government will get commissions, and they won't reveal what they're getting for royalties off of these developments. And this guy was on the show talking about all the things he was trying to discover and was getting blocked, and they would not allow him, and it was confidential information, and you can't know this and you can't know that. But these are either government employees or government contractors who were making money off of things that were developed through the federal government, and you're not allowed to know.
All right.
It was one of the more frightening stories I've ever seen on television in the last 10 years.
Well, things went well with my FAFSA.
Glad.
So I'm very happy it went well with the federal government. Okay. Hurry up and wait now. We got a note to get to, and we will when we come back here on the Coffee and Program.
When you or a loved one are not feeling well and you need medical attention, you need to ask yourself, what's the right place to receive the right care? Check with your doctor's office. They can direct you to the right place for care. If you don't have a doctor, call a clinic or urgent care facility near you. If your situation is truly an emergency, then a hospital emergency department may be best. For a list of medical emergencies and recommendations of where to seek care and when, visit health.ri.gov/rightplace. A message from the Rhode Island Department of Health.
When you're thinking about a place to go out to eat with your family or the whole gang, or maybe something quieter for just the two of you, head over to ON Radio's website, OneSocketRadio.com, and click on the restaurant guide. This gives you a listing of the best restaurants in the area. You can take a look at menus and possibly even make reservations. This is a great resource to see a bunch of restaurants all in one place. Remember, it's OneSocketRadio.com and click on Restaurant Guide. And if you own a restaurant that's not already listed, call WOON Radio at 401-762-1240 for information on how your restaurant can be on the Restaurant Guide. Call Joe at 401-762-1240. Coffee and on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray and John Ward. We did a note that was called in, 766-1240, on a completely different topic. Here we go. In the ultimate book of morality, the meek were said to inherit the earth, but thousands of years later, we live in an age determined by science, math, and data. Morals are meek and numbers are biblical. This was the source of this is from a op-ed piece that was in the Providence Journal on January 21st called It's Your Turn. I don't know if anyone happened to read that, so I just wanted to pass along that morals are meek and numbers are biblical. So that's what they...
It's interesting.
You got to go back to January 21st, which was,
I can. I have my online subscription. I'll
Sunday.
let you go back and pick dates.
There you go. So here you go.
Yesterday.
Hang on to that, and you can go look that up. So other things that are going on. Tough to be a Buffalo Bills fan. They lost yesterday, and it's the way they lose. That's the tough part for Buffalo. I don't know if you know this, Melissa, not being a big sports fan, but they in the 90s, 80s, 90s, the Buffalo Bills went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, and lost all four. And about 30 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl again, and it came down to the place kicker, and if he kicked the field goal, they would have won the Super Bowl, and it went wide to the right. Yesterday, it came down to the place kicker to send the game into overtime, and the kicker went wide to the right. It's like, oh man, it's just so difficult being a Buffalo Bills fan.
Was that the Kelly years back in the 90s?
That was Jim Kelly, when he lost all four in a row. Yes. So they were a little distraught in in Buffalo last night. Now, this is what I want to see happen.
I was busy at Lops.
Oh, there
they
you
were
go.
having Cookie Fest,
Oh, there you go.
so I was.
This is what I want to
Not
see
paying attention to
happen
sports.
this week, but it's not going to happen. And I would love to see it because it would be a media circus and the entire nation would blow up if. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to play the Baltimore Ravens for the AFC Championship this coming weekend.
You want to see Taylor Swift not make it to the game?
Yes. I want the Baltimore Ravens to come out and say, we don't have room for you. Because she always gets
I
the
don't
nice
think-
suite.
Yeah, but it's the Kansas City. It's the visiting team's suite, isn't it?
I don't know which one she's in. They never say.
The visiting team owner gets a suite.
Yes, but you never see the visiting team owner. You
That's
just
'cause
see
Taylor
her
Swift is there.
and whoever she's hugging, and you saw Travis Kelce's brother without his shirt on yesterday.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
That was him that you saw in the news. And but wouldn't it be great if the Ravens said, all the suites are taken and we don't have room for you? Can you imagine the mayhem that would happen all this week? That Taylor Swift could not get. We don't have a ticket for her. She can't go to the game.
That won't happen.
I know it won't happen, but it would. I would love for the Ravens to do that
Why? What do you have against Tay Tay?
because I want chaos, and that's what I want to have happen. I would love.
You want chaos.
Because the reason is, and I hate it, and they do it every
like-
time.
He's doing a Heath Ledger thing.
And it happens during
Like
the
a
game.
dog chasing a car. If I ever caught it, I wouldn't know what to do.
Travis Kelce caught a touchdown in the end zone. Immediately,
Went to Taylor.
the camera shoots to Taylor Swift hugging somebody because she was very happy that her boyfriend caught
Oh,
the
yeah,
touch.
he made a
And,
little heart thing towards.
Yes, I
yes,
saw
right.
that too. I was, oh God.
Yeah.
Is that why I didn't watch that game? Except
But
for the
that's-
end.
Well, that happened a little earlier in the game. That
Yeah,
might have been in the
that's-
second
I only
quarter.
caught the end of the game.
So, because I know they're going to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and the networks know they're going to do it. The NFL knows they're going to do it, and I'm sick of it.
Well,
So
maybe
seeing-
the network will realize that they're possibly losing viewership.
No,
because
that's
they spend too much time.
they're
but
not.
they're picking up a whole bunch of different
get
viewers.
new-
God,
new-
no, they have
viewership.
new. Yes.
Because there's my daughter who's like Melissa, could care
Yeah.
less about the game,
You're
could
like,
care less about
"Oh," you
sports,
made a little
and like
heart-
it's
heart
like
motion
I
towards
want.
her.
Where's Taylor?
Right.
Oh, there she is.
While I was eating my cookies.
We caught a glimpse of her. Oh, and we're all
Yep,
excited.
yep.
Okay, there she is. And there's a bunch of younger people. I'm going to go with younger people. That's why they're all. That's the only reason they're tuning into Kansas City Chiefs game. If they were watching the San Francisco and Green Bay, well, where's Taylor? This isn't the game. Well, click. We don't care. There's no Taylor involved, so.
I think it's hilarious.
So that's so. But anyway, she'll get her seat. She'll get her nice warm box. She'll be nice and cozy, somewhere there at whatever the name of the stadium where the Ravens play.
Okay.
There you go. All right. All right. There was a fire, a 4-alarm fire in Pawtucket this morning.
This morning.
This morning at like 2 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah. When Pawtucket fire got there, they like yikes, and they had to call for help, and no one got killed, but it did displace quite a few people.
Multi-unit home.
I
Yeah.
think so.
I mean, those cold nights, you hear about that happening, and people are using all sorts of heating sources, and
Yeah, you don't know what they
that's when
using.
the fires happen.
The fire was coming from the first floor storefront, which was a coin op laundromat. Could have been one of the
okay.
machines. Because of the weather conditions, wicked cold, and the size of the building, they needed more help.
Yeah.
The building inspector is going to be there today to see if residents can re-enter their homes. No word on the cause. 20 people were forced out
Wow.
early this morning at like 2 a.m. Sorry, the building's
That
on
must have been.
fire.
That must have been
Hopefully
almost
they
like
can go
going to
back
a
in.
market basket in shorts.
Oh yeah.
I see that.
No, I'm
Not
just,
necessarily
have you
market
ever been?
basket.
Have you ever been to a market basket and realized how cold it is
Cold.
inside their stores?
No, really, it is.
Oh, good lord!
I've
never been to a
market
store
basket.
that's kept as cold as a market basket.
Really?
Well, at least
if you,
everything's
if you
fresh.
Ever, if you ever go in there in shorts and a t-shirt in the summertime, you're going to regret it. You're going to say, "Where's my sweatshirt?" It's chilly in their stores.
All right. I didn't realize that.
Oh.
So, not that I'm against Market Basket. I just haven't had a reason to go there.
Oh, okay.
So, okay. Do you go to Panera Bread?
From time to time.
Panera Bread's caffeinated charged lemonade drinks are at the center of another
Another
lawsuit.
one?
Another
Okay.
one, yes. Woman filed a lawsuit in Delaware Tuesday alleging that she suffers long-term and permanent cardiac issues after drinking charged lemonade. According to the lawsuit, the woman drank two and a half charged lemonades and started experiencing symptoms like body shakes, heart palpitations, and shortness of breath.
So
She drank 2.5 in one sitting.
Yes.
So what's in it?
Hey.
Caffeine.
Caffeine.
Yeah. The woman allegedly went to the emergency room and was treated for atrial fibrillation, which the CDC describes as an irregular heartbeat.
Yeah,
Two
AFib.
previous lawsuits blamed charged lemonade for the deaths of a Florida man and a college student.
How much did they drink?
It doesn't say. So there's caffeine in this lemonade, which is why it's called charged. I mean, you should know that. They should. I'm assuming they describe what's in the drink up on the board or on their menu.
There's
or
caffeine in Coca-Cola.
Right.
Well, that's right. And Mountain Dew.
And energy drinks and
And
yeah.
energy drinks. So yeah. It doesn't say if the other two won these lawsuits.
I mean,
against
if
Panera Bread.
somebody went and bought 3 or 4 cans of Rockstar or whatever and drank it,
Who
I mean,
drinks
you
that
know
crap?
what you're buying.
Kids,
Yeah.
they've got it. You know, either the marketing's
I'm
working,
good with my coffee.
and you can
Now I,
you
now
can
I
stay
know
up
why
late and stuff
now
like
I,
that.
now I know why Archie called him Meathead.
All right.
Kids.
Yeah.
Kids, yeah.
Um,
But this woman was not a
It's an adult.
kid, was she? It was
No.
it doesn't say. Just says a woman. I don't have an age.
Okay.
So,
I don't know of any 14-year-olds with atrial fibrillation.
well, one died that was a college student. So,
Yeah, that's
but you don't. You're right. You don't know how much she drank
Yeah.
or he drank. Maybe it's 6.
or
Just
what
cramming
else?
Counted down
for-
the lemonade.
Or what else
Cramming
she
for
was
Right, right, yeah.
drinking
That's true.
besides that.
All right. I mentioned this to John before we started, Melissa. But boy, if I was a resident of New Hampshire and voted early for Ron DeSantis, would I be angry today?
That's why you shouldn't do early voting.
That's right. Ron DeSantis, you must know by now, has dropped out of the
Yep.
race.
Yep.
Or at
3
least
days,
not-
3
That was
days
inevi-
before the
that- yeah,
primary.
that
At
was
least
inevitable.
not that early. I don't mind 5 days. I got a problem with the way we do it here. But
Yeah.
5 days is fine.
If you want to vote the day before the actual election day, technically it's voting early, but okay. But I'd be mad at
Voting has
Ron.
already started for the special election here in
Here in
Woonsocket.
Woonsocket?
Yeah.
Early voting started on Wednesday.
Started
To
last
me,
week.
that's just too early.
Yeah.
It's just too early. But that's me. But wouldn't you be angry if you voted for Ron DeSantis and then you found out later on he
I wouldn't
decided to
vote for
drop
Ron
out the race?
DeSantis.
Yeah,
You
same.
have to pretend that we're playing pretend
Oh, okay.
here.
Well, it's kind of like my first race for Senate. I had a primary opponent, and that person dropped out after the ballots were printed,
Okay.
and so people still voted for that person,
Yeah.
even though that person had dropped out. So, I mean, it was annoying. It forced me to work harder and spend more money. I think it was probably intentional, but I can't prove that. But yeah, it was really annoying. I was like, well, what the heck?
Yeah.
But hey, people drop out sometimes, and they just get to a point where
It's the timing, though. If he was going to quit the race, he should have quit it on Wednesday when he's going to lose, and he was going to lose, and he was probably going to come in third. And yeah, is it
Well-
embarrassing? I guess, and that's okay.
And if
So
you listen to
save
him
himself.
carefully, he was careful how he worded his endorsement of Trump. He didn't
How did he say
really endorse him. When I listened to what he was saying later in the day, it sounded like he was saying, it seems inevitable that Trump's going to get the nomination based on the way the polls are looking.
So you might as well vote for him?
So you may as well vote for him. Yeah. I don't think he was saying he's the best guy for the job.
No.
He was sort of saying, well, I kind of know he's going to win, so,
So you might as well.
You may as well.
And we want a
throw your
Republican
vote
in
for him.
instead of Joe Biden, so it looks like
Right.
he's the guy. And I'm not going to be the VP, so
And of course, Trump says he will now retire Ron Sanctimonious. Oh, Ron DeSanctimonious.
oh, he's got to stop calling
Yeah,
him
he'll
that.
stop calling him that.
That's awful
because
big of him.
Now he's a good guy.
oh yeah.
Now he's a
yeah,
good guy.
okay.
Yeah, because he endorsed him.
He's
yeah.
like
Right.
he's like so middle school.
Trump.
Trump.
Well, of course he is. Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
a little too
amazingly, it
advanced.
works.
That's a little too too advanced.
Amazingly, it works.
It's elementary school?
Elementary school, like sandbox stuff.
But they're not usually Sandbox. They're not that.
Well, they don't know sanctimonious.
Yeah, they're not. Sandbox, they're not name calling. I don't think as
Well,
much.
Stupid
as,
Head is right up there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's too
Yeah.
simplistic.
Well, of
they
course
get a
it
little
is.
more sophisticated by middle school with a choice of words, and they're actually more bitter. Trump is like, I don't know.
He's something.
I mean, everybody that supports him pretty much says, "Yeah, I know what he's like, but he's got good policies."
Yeah, okay.
Even the CEO of one of those monster companies,
J.P.
J.P. Morgan,
Morgan.
was
Right.
on the air saying,
What'd he say?
stop the harsh criticism of MAGA people because really, for the most part, they don't really care about his personality. They just want to.
Yeah, he's
They just want to
defending-
secure
yeah.
the border and
Yeah,
take
that's
care
what
of
they want.
the country. And of course, he was happy for Trump because they got the tax changes in. But yeah, and of course the border is the number one issue. Besides the economy, though it says everybody's doing better. Come on, Joe, come to the grocery store with me.
Oh.
Let me show you some things.
You want to tell me how much money I spent at the grocery store this past Saturday?
Tell me how many bags you have. I'll tell you how much you spent.
6.
6 bags.
That's a lot.
Maybe
In
five.
Rhode Island, it would have cost you 60 cents if you went to Stop and Shop.
I brought my own bags.
Okay. 6 bags, you got to be up around $250.
It would have been. It was a little higher only because I had to buy batteries. And I had to buy
that's $300.
I had to buy a big thing of AAAs and AA A's.
A's.
Both of them were $15 each.
Wow.
So I'm adding $30
Yeah,
to
yeah.
my usual amount of money. $250 is correct.
Wow.
I am buying for 3 people. But nothing extravagant, and I always look for the non-off brands, and it's still
Same.
it's
Yep.
still $250. All right. The good news is, by the way, from the Nature Scientific Reports, eating dark chocolate could reduce the risk of high blood pressure. So here we go.
Hooray. Hooray.
Good news.
Yes, just
Coming up on
don't
Valentine's
eat
Day.
10 pounds a day.
Doesn't say that.
They always leave out the important
But I
part.
do. But they are looking for people to do research, so I'm ready to go.
Doesn't that also have caffeine in it?
It sure does.
Oh, it does.
Sure
Sure
does.
does.
All right, that'll do it for the show for today. Thank you very much for listening in. Melissa Murray, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, John Ward, best of luck in your meetings tonight.
Well, thanks.
Take a nap today.
4 o'clock,
Take
6
a disco
o'clock.
nap.
Could
10
be
o'clock.
Bring some
We'll
caffeine.
try to be done. I'll have my
some-
caffeinated
Don't bring the
drink
lemonade.
Bring your charged
with me.
lemonade.
It won't be charged lemonade. It'll be somewhat lesser charged
Lester,
coffee.
a little more caffeine. All right. All right. I'm Joe Callahan. Have yourself a great day. Stay tuned for Leslie Page at the library, and then Karen Zangari, Food First. It's next on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee calls his proposed $13.7 billion budget for the 2025 fiscal year